Right, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of the Cian Cast. So today we have our first guest, Mr. Michael Geary. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on, Cian. Privilege being the first person, so let's make sure it's a good one.
We'll make sure it's a good one.
We
So
will.
Mike, similar to myself, is an online coach, but he's obviously been in the game a bit longer than me. When did you start coaching?
I did little bits probably 2016, 2017, more so friends, but kind of like officially it was kind of more 2018 is when I kind of officially got it going, like paying clients and all that. So now it's going on 6 years, paying about 8 years, kind of coaching in the background now at this stage.
Total.
Yeah, so it's wouldn't even think it's 8 years. Like it only feels like 2-3 years. Like it's because it's so enjoyable that like it's not like it's something that bothers us each day. Like we get up, we enjoy the job.
Yeah. And what was it that you were doing before that?
I'm fully qualified as an engineer. I have a master's in engineering. I have a degree in engineering. So I went to college. I thought that's what I wanted to pursue. So I did that. I worked in 2 or 3 pharmaceutical companies, and I just always had an interest then in health fitness. And from there, I was kind of I was doing my own diets, and I was doing I got my first coach myself in I think it was end of 2015. I got my first coach, more so for a holiday, just to kind of understand a little bit more through nutrition. So it was a local Irish coach that was from Waterford at the time, and from there then I was just kind of taking on little bits, and then 2 or 3 of my friends I kind of helped with a bit of coaching. And as I was working in engineering, as much as like it's a great job and like obviously it's secure, it's 9 to 5 and pays the bills
And well paid. Right?
and well paid. So like even in that, like I know like people, like even when I left my job in 2019, so that's when I literally had to make that decision to quit my full-time job. It was kind of a thing when I went in and even handed my notice. The managers were kind of like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Like you're giving away this secure opportunity for the unknown. And I was saying like if I didn't do it now, I'd probably regret it, or I wouldn't get that opportunity, because I was at a kind of capacity with clients while trying to work a full-time job, because you can't be doing 50, 60 plus clients when you're working 40 hours a week, or even overtime in it as well, like when in them jobs. So I ended up leaving a job that was paying close on 70k a year to pursue my own, which I wasn't even turning that over in coaching at the time, because I didn't have the numbers due to like that capacity. I think I had like 35 or something plus clients while working a full-time job. So I just said I'd make the move because I had a huge waiting list as well. And luckily it paid off. But then COVID hit straight away after it. So that was
I was just about to say, what a time to join the self-employed coaching career.
So it was like 5 months of like, it was like November, December, then in through March. So about 5 months of normality, and then obviously COVID hit, and then I remember the day when that, it was like kind of like, fuck's sake, why did I hand in my notice? Why did I kind of tell them like I won't need this job anymore? And it was kind of that like unknown for the first kind of month. Like, everyone was like that 5-6 weeks of like people pausing, people stopping, and then people realised it's going on longer, so then they'd come back, and people understood that their health and everything was important. So it was a journey, hell of a journey so far. It's still ongoing, which is absolutely, like, if you asked me 6 years ago, would have never thought this is where I'd be. Like, lived in, it's my 3rd country now in the last few years, so and who knows, is it the last or what? So like it's that kind of way, like you don't know what's around the corner.
And say when you were leaving the first job, obviously the security of it, 70 grand a year wage, you've studied 4 years, 5 years in college for it. What was your, I suppose, mindset leaving, and then what was, say, family, friends, what were they kind of thinking?
So like from that aspect, like my mindset in leaving the job was like, I have to make this work. Like I threw away an opportunity of, like, I was in a secure job, but I wasn't, even the way I looked at it, I remember one of my biggest supporters was one of my former line managers in the engineering job. So when I started in Johnson & Johnson, I had this one engineering manager. He ended up moving to a different part of the company, but we kept close. So like I'd meet him for a coffee, I'd be talking to him, so he knew about my health and fitness journey, about the bodybuilding and all that, so he used to ask me a lot about it. So I went up to him and I just kind of said it to him. I was like, I have an opportunity to pursue this rather than the engineering. And he told me straight out, he's like, do it. He goes, what you have is what a lot of people don't, is you have an ace card in your back pocket. Yeah. So like if you did 6-7 months and this wasn't going to plan, you could just get a job somewhere else. And like that kind of opened my eyes, because first I thought I was throwing it all away. But then he's like, you get a job anywhere with the experience you have and where you were working. Because like I was up to a senior engineer. Like I was a step off a manager position in Johnson & Johnson when I was finishing. Like that would have been the next step from a senior engineer to that.
And isn't it mental how you had someone like that in your corner who he probably doesn't even think you think back about? You know what I mean? He's that person that you think about now. Like that guy. You know, a lot of people have teachers that were the first person to believe in them, but you had this. Was it your manager at the time?
Yeah, my former manager.
Former manager at the time. Yeah, and when you were leaving the job and you were obviously starting off in coaching, COVID happened. Were you like, oh fuck this, why did this happen? Or were you like, right, I'm going to make it work no matter what? Did you look around for another job at the time?
I said I'd give it whatever length. First, when it happened, obviously I was sitting there like, fuck this shit now, this is bad timing, I'm going to lose, all the clients are going to stop because no one's going to be able to afford paying this, or no one's going to want to do it with no gyms or people doing home workouts. Like, who wants to do a home workout with a band? Like, even though it became the thing, but I just said I'd give it the first 2-3 months because like I had savings put away anyway. Like, I had it kind of worked out, saying that if I was struggling, I was giving myself 6 months of struggle before I would consider moving into like looking for back into my career course in the job. But thankfully I didn't need to. So excuse me. So 5-6 months in, COVID was now a thing. So obviously the gyms opened at some stage, can't remember when they opened, but everyone just kept coming back for home workouts. They wanted their nutrition. Even from that aspect, it's just people needed an accountability, because when people were working from home, they just didn't know what to do with themselves. Like, it was just opening that opportunity of just getting, because what was the most common thing during COVID? Takeaways, people getting a Domino's, getting a Chinese, because it was the only thing that you could do as a social thing really at the time was eat.
I think with lockdown, there was either two ways people could go. They could go down the takeaways, the drinking, the drugging, the whole lot every night, because it was, you're getting this money off the government, there's no work in the morning, you know, you have all this income, friends are at home, people are around, so you could either go down that route, or you could go down the self-development route, the work on yourself, use this time as almost like, you know, an opportunity to work on you and work on yourself. So I suppose, what would you say to people that are afraid to take that jump, in terms of, you took the jump similar to me when I first took the jump, COVID happened, it's never the right time, do you know what I mean? Something like that could always be around the corner. So what would you say to people that are kind of afraid to take that jump? They have maybe some security, some savings and stuff like that, but they're just afraid to go after what they really want to go after.
Like, what you're doing there is you're just holding yourself back. Like, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look back in years to come and go, why didn't I take that risk? What's wrong with failing? Like, what is wrong with failing? Like, if you failed or I failed, like, what would have been the biggest issue there? Like, I would have just went back into an engineering job and would have at least turned around and said I tried. I put the effort in, and like, say if it didn't go for you, like, when, what were you, did you say you went in college, wasn't your thing, you decided to pursue something else?
I was in my second year of college at the time. I actually originally went to college in Galway, did 2 weeks, didn't go in for 2 weeks, then went to my first lecture, and I was like, yeah, I can't do this. Then I dropped out, went down to UL, did 2 years, and then on my second year, the day of my exams, I had check-ins on the same day, and I also was coaching my lecturer at the time. And I was like,
that's a good one.
I was kind of like, the student is the teacher here, do you know what I mean? So I was like, this makes no sense, why am I doing this? And I think in our game, especially like online coaching, like, there is no book, do you know what I mean? There's no how to be an online coach 101 book. You kind of pick up as you go. So obviously you started off with your clients, your mates, your friends. I assume that was more lifestyle. How did it turn into what it is today, as obviously you're probably more of a prep coach now?
It turned more that way really, was because I say was my own prep as well, back when I was prepping in 2019 I think it was, because again I was kind of seeing, then I had some lifestyle clients and I had that, and like again bodybuilding scene in Ireland was picking up, and then I documented my full prep, like literally with my clients, like doing my check-ins, doing my cardio, showing my food, showing the sacrifices that's gone in. And I just became relatable probably for a lot of people's goals, that like that what discipline looks like, what requirements are required to reach a high standard goal. And it kind of built from there, and then I did my shows, and then that's when the client numbers started picking up, and that's where the interest came. And then I was getting the inquiries first from the initial few girls, like it would have been like Eva Roach and then Rebecca McCabe were the first two girls I had on stage.
And I remember, was this?
And this was 2019 is when they kind of started coaching. They both, like Eva started in the summer, but her goal initially was just a fat loss, because even in our consultation it was like fat loss, get in shape for summer. Potentially, she kind of wrote, it was at the end, potentially it may have an interest in competing someday, don't know. That's what it said. And then Rebecca's was the same. She was, after I did my show, it was her message came in about would like to compete next year at some stage in 2020, to take it off the bucket list or something like, it was just like a goal that she had. So they became the first two, but then obviously like I had inquiries with others. I had some people you knew from TIP as well who were interested in it, but it's because of COVID kind of killed the little bit of interest in a lot of people, because even from that aspect, like I was prepping in 2021, and sure, same thing, shows were being cancelled there, but like during 2020 everything was cancelled, and we were lucky that shows even ran. Like my first two clients then was Eva and Rebecca. Eva won the show, Rebecca was third in the show. They were both in the same class because they were both juniors, but it was like, I think it was 8 girls, and it was Eva first and Rebecca third, which is great, considering there was like barely any shows ran. And that was a good confidence boost for me, because especially like, you know yourself, when you're putting someone on stage, it's a lot different from doing a photo shoot and doing a lifestyle client. Like unfortunately you do get that imposter syndrome quite a lot, that am I making the right decision? Like I remember being awake at like 4 a.m. on the day of the show and like texting the girls over and kind of like, shit, like I made a decision, I hope this is right, you know, you're just kind of like, you're second guessing yourself. And then because of the results that came in and how they looked, I was like, yeah, this was great, like this I know what I'm doing here. And that was like, but then I was like, the real challenge would be next year. So that's when the numbers started to kind of creep up. Then we started adding maybe 10 clients then were interested the following year, and then just kept jumping in that manner. So even then when the next clients came on, the start of it, when I had like Eva, Rebecca, and then a few others came on, and a few guys came on too as well, it just became now that when I had someone's peak week or their check-in leading into a show, it wasn't the fear of, I hope I know what I'm doing. It was kind of more so the assertiveness started coming into play, that when they said, when you pick up your phone, so it's like here, you pick your phone up, you see client message, you're like bang, 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 you know what you're doing, you have them text back within a minute with the decision, rather than spending 5-6 minutes, because that would have been the initial thing, is when you have a client, when you're trying to make a decision for your first prep client, you're going to write out a message, but you're going to stare at it for about 5-10 minutes, because you're unsure, is this what I want to send or not? And then it comes with experience, whereas now I don't even, like, I'll get a message and I'll have my decision made within a split second 90% of the time, unless it's, sometimes decision can be a little bit more difficult. It depends on individual circumstances of the individual, of their stress levels, of whatever's happening in their personal life. Unfortunately, within prep journeys of a lot of clients, they have personal issues that do crop up that are unforeseen at the beginning.
But that's just life.
But that's life. And
6 months, life is going to keep going.
Life is not going to stop. No, and it's about, like, that's the resilience of, like, if you are doing a prep or in anything in life, your resilience you need to have. Whereas when something kicks you down or something's trying to break you, that you can just pull yourself together. Because that's the biggest flaw that we'll see with individuals, is that something will not go to plan. You'll have your journey written out all the way and it won't go smooth. And then if you throw your toys on the floor or whatever, you're not going to get what you want out of it. And it's just going to lead you down a bad path. And the same with prep. If you start complaining and you start, why me, why is this happening, why am I stalling with my body weight, why am I stressing that, you're just impacting your own journey and you're not going to enjoy it. And that's one of the biggest factors, because like I think that's why what happened when I left the engineering job, I didn't enjoy it to the level I did at the start. That excitement to go in, like I was working on like knee shoulder implants for orthopedic patients, and like I enjoyed it at the start, but then I was getting more enjoyment about changing people's lives for the better. I was booking out meeting rooms for 2 hours, pretending I had an engineering meeting, bringing my laptop in, doing check-ins during the day, because my focus was shifting. And that's when I decided I need to stop that job, because I wasn't giving the effort required. And when I find I'm not giving the effort required in something, I need to leave it. Because you're just not going to enjoy it, or it's not going to go to plan for you.
So take it back there for a minute. So 2019, 2020, you had 2 clients. First stage, And talk me through last year. You had 80 something, you said?
No, it was 61-ish, I think it was. I'd have to look back on it, in around that.
That's 2 in, was it 2019? 2020, and then up to 2024.
21 there was, so 2021 then there was probably around 28 or so maybe.
So it went from 2 to 28.
And then, because that was with the results, because like again, I know it was only 2, but they both got good results. But it was during COVID.
It's a results-based business.
It is a results-based business. And then this season now at the minute, like I don't have as many as last year, because the majority of my clients who competed last year want to take the season off. So I've a lot of them who are taking the season off, and I'm kind of keeping what I did last year is I pushed my client numbers quite high, and it, as much as like you can manage it, it's very, very difficult as well to be able to switch off from everything else, that you're literally on your phone 24/7. So I took kind of, at the end, I kind of switched, I said a little bit here, goes, right, I need to chill a little bit. My current clients are priority. If someone comes in who's competing, yeah, that'll be a priority. But then that's when I took on Eva. So I've taken on a staff member, Eva Roach, who was my first show winner. So she's kind of looking after the majority of like coming in with inquiries with lifestyle. So if someone inquires, like we have 2 separate inquiry links, but if someone inquires with me for a lifestyle, I'll be pushing majority of it over to Eva, unless there's a kind of an aspect of saying they'd like to compete down the line, or specifically they want to work with me. Like majority, if it's a male, they probably would want to work with me at the moment, which is just what happens with the coaching business at the minute. But that's kind of what happens is when hiring Eva then was able to take some of the pressure off me, but then it's able to, for her to showcase her ability, because she's been prepped by me and coached by me now. It'll be 5 years this summer, so she's like a mini version of me with decision making and thought processes now. So like that's where we want to build, and then like even that, like hopefully now later on in the year, I was going to rush the process and hire more quicker, but I just said I'll sit back and just let Eva get her initial stuff done, few photo shoot clients in. She's doing her own prep now at the minute, which is quite important for her and for me now as well, because she'd be up there as a very, very good athlete within Ireland. She's made significant amount of progress. She enjoys the process. Like, just she's a model athlete when it comes to prepping. Doesn't complain, gets the job done. So again, I want to see her showcase that now through the season while being a coach as well. I want to see that come across.
And I got a question on the last podcast for the Q&A about hiring someone for, say, lifestyle gym pop, and what I said is massively important is that they've been through, you know, the business with me. I've coached them before. They know my standards, they know the way I work, they know my work ethic. How important was that in, say, hiring Eva and maybe even hiring someone else? Would you ever look out, or would it have to be someone that's been through the process with you?
Initially, the first would have to be through the process with you. 100% the first is what I'd always recommend, because if you're hiring externally, you're going to hire someone with different like views who doesn't understand what way, because like if you hire someone who you've worked with for 2 or 3 years, they've watched your check-in videos for 2 or 3 years. They know your way of responses. They know what way you're going to respond to certain situations. Whereas if it's someone, if you think about it, if it's someone who hasn't been involved in some level of your coaching business, like they don't owe it anything. Like they could come in, get 10, 15 clients, then decide this is not for me. I could make more money by doing it myself. And that's kind of one of the biggest things you can see with coaching, that when you do hire people, you have to ensure you know the individual at a more personal level than just John just applied to be a coach. Oh, he's got a good physique, let's hire him, let's get him 20 clients. He gets 20 clients. Then he takes his 20 clients away, and then you're dropping 20 clients from your business. So I do find the initial one should be from someone with you, or even the initial second one as well. Like, or even if it's someone like what tends to work sometimes is when coaching businesses combine. Like I've seen it with 1 or 2 people in Cork now as well, where locally in Ireland, that they've combined businesses. 2 of my friends combined a business, and it seems to be doing very well because they both have the same goals, aspirations. Like, so that's a good way to get people on board. But even when I put my thing up about hiring, or I will look for someone throughout this year, I did get a lot of messages off people who I'd know from Instagram and that, or even some I wouldn't. Like I remember I had someone write to me from, was it like Liverpool, and just asking, I'd like a job, work for you as a coach. Didn't even follow me, didn't even whatever, and just a normal everyday person, didn't even have an impressive physique. So people are just looking for a way of going, right, he gets clients, I'll be able to get clients. I can take his clients then, make my own. You have to be very careful, which is what you need to be when you're hiring someone in this game as well.
You want someone who's part of the brand, part of the company,
community,
the community, and building that aspect. And how important was, say, building a community for you? Because I know you have a lot of females in one area as well, particularly Cork back home, and Ireland in general. Do you think it's important that you're seen to be around them and, you know, getting them to link up together, or do you kind of just let them do their own thing? Or
when I was local in Ireland, it's a lot easier, because when you lived in the country, like I was in the gym where the majority of my clients were. They'd be texting me, I'm going to be in the gym at this time, so I'd be in there at that time, or I'd be saying I can meet you here, is ranting through training. Or I'd be like, you could have some kind of day when there's a few of your clients there. So like it was a big thing. What I always wanted my clients as well, like, because even the ones that compete, sometimes they competed against each other, and my whole thing was that your teammates at the end of the day, like again, and it's not, there's no favoritism when people are going up against it. Like everyone's doing the work you put in is going to show on stage. Everyone's genetics is different. Everyone's like aspect of their level of muscle development is going to be different when they're stepping on stage. Your journey, like you're not going to be, even if you're in a junior bikini, one could have been training since they're 15, one might have started training at 19. There's going to be a difference in their level of tissue like bullied onto them. So again, you just need to be able to build that, because you don't want to have a team of clients that think that maybe this person is a favorite, or that I didn't get a result, this person won the show, I didn't get a first call out, maybe I didn't get enough effort, or I didn't get enough attention as the other person did. Like that's what you can tend to see. And even something that can be an interesting topic to discuss very quickly would be, even when clients finish their first prep, the expectation of the client, because something that I like that you'll notice the more clients you put through the process of bodybuilding is, when they're a first timer, they're going to love the process of prep. They're going to hate it at times when they're hungry, they're tired, they're not sleeping, but they're getting that accountability of their coach texting them maybe every second day. How are you getting on? How's food? Okay, let me know. Okay, we need to run a bit of a high day here. We need to do this. So they're loving life. They're getting all this attention. Check-ins become daily. You get your peak week. You're at the show with them. And then post-show, you have that accountability. Right, check in every second day. If you have an issue, let me know. Right, let's move to every third day. So you're trying to push away from that daily contact, because one thing that can cause an issue is holding someone's hand for too long. So you need to be able, an individual needs to be able to step back a bit, that you can kind of slowly build back to what an off season was, to that check in once a week eventually. But that's what I can see. If clients struggle post show, a lot of them feel like the support might not be there like was during prep, but you're not going to be getting a daily check in when you're deep into an off season. When you're get to that kind of 10-12 week mark post show, you should be in a kind of a strong enough position. Like some aren't, and that's okay. It's like, at the end of the day, we can't decide how someone's going to react. Some people, like when I did my last shows in 2022, I was absolutely fine 2 days later. No issues, did not care. It felt like I didn't even do a show, or I didn't even feel like I did a prep diet. I was absolutely fine. Where some people would take 2-3 months to recover or struggle mentally. And then once you have that support, because like the biggest, like what I'm getting now is messages from clients who competed, say, September, October, November, and now they're that kind of like 5-6 months, maybe like between 3 to 5 months, 6 months post show, and they're not enjoying training, they're not enjoying their off season. You're going to go through that lull, and that's all part and parcel of everything you do in life. Look at working a 9 to 5. There's a lull every day for 20 years plus. At the end of the day, it's a monotonous aspect. Off season is monotonous.
It's kind of just about, I suppose, looking forward, what's the next goal, and realising that although you're getting further away from where you were on stage and you're constantly looking back, if you actually look forward, you're getting closer to your next time on stage and your next physique and your next goal. And it's very easy for clients in general just to look back at where they were in prep and be in love with their physique and in love with their routine. You can keep your routine throughout, that just comes down to your discipline, but actually start fixating now on the next thing and not being, stuck in the past, for lack of a better term.
And that's what happens then when you see like everyone gets caught up on their throwback pictures. Like everyone's only obsessed with how they looked at in prep.
I don't think I haven't posted a single throwback picture from prep. Well, I don't give a fuck, to be honest. On to the next one. Like
we know when the next goal is. You know when the next goal is, and that's one of the hardest learning factors I've seen over the last 2 or 3 years for people is their transition from prep, because like you're texting them, and then when they hit that lull, like I've had clients text me yesterday and today, a few weeks or whatever, 3-4 months post show, and then saying they're struggling with motivation. And the problem there is, as a coach, you don't text them back, oh, it's going to be okay, don't worry about it. You just tell them straight out, it goes, there's a thing called discipline. Like you have to kind of be a bit more thorough with someone, especially if they've prepped multiple times. If it's someone as a first timer, give them the first few weeks, give them that kind of little thing of like, look, give it a few weeks, you'll be okay, or your body's going to resettle. Look, the mind will take a little bit of time, but if you're 5-6 months in, you need to ask the question as well. Like something I like to ask some clients at times as well is if they're, say, 5-6 months post prep and they're struggling mentally and they're like, oh, I can't put on any more body fat, I can't look at myself. I'd like to ask them, like, Are you an Instagram bodybuilder, or are you doing it for the fact that you actually love bodybuilding? And as much as that's going to piss them off when they read that, they're going to give you the answer as, no, I'm a fucking bodybuilder. And it's like, then prove it. Do you know, like, exactly, if that's what you want, prove it. Rather than just telling that you're struggling. Yeah, you're going to struggle. We're all struggling. I went through last year of disliking training when I was so busy for about 2.5 months because I didn't have time. I was flying from country to country, Ireland to UK, Spain, wherever, going all there. I had clients in America staying up till 4 a.m. texting people, watching shows.
In the height of it,
Yeah, so, and then I'm trying to get up in the morning, and then my problem was I was dealing with so many clients that I was going into a training session, but then my phone would be beeping. Like, I'd be having so many messages constantly coming in on my phone.
We were just training together towards the back of the prep, and you were just constantly getting messages, and it's probably just it's probably important to turn airplane mode on for an hour and get in the session, but it's also much easier said than done.
It's easier, like, and that's something I've learned there now, is because the show season isn't here yet, I'll barely look at my phone when I'm training if it was involved switching a song. When I've clients now that are like 9-10 weeks out coming into shows, they're messaging me frequently now, like as in every second day. I'm probably like, hey, how are you getting on, how's your training? But I don't need that 8-9 o'clock message at night. Like, if there's something comes in there, it's not as urgent as someone being 2 weeks out. And that's something that took me a while to adapt to, as well as the fact now I can switch off a little bit. I can enjoy my personal life. I'm going on holidays in 2 weeks and I can't fucking wait. But yet I will have my laptop with me. And the thing is, I might just send a voice note here and there. I will warn clients. I'll be like, look, I'm going away before the show season for 4 or 5 days. I'm just going to switch off. I can move your check-in to another day before I go away. But if you want to send your check-in, send it. I might have availability. Like, I'll probably say I'm going to work between 8 and 10. And that's it.
I also think balance needs to be earned.
Like,
lots of people like balance. Like, even say bodybuilders clients, they like balance, but you haven't even like been through a prep, you haven't done anything hard. Like, why do you deserve this yet? You know what I mean? That's what I personally think. Or people that are starting a coaching business, I remember when I first started mine, like, I didn't talk to anyone for months. Like, I didn't do anything, I didn't go anywhere. I was like, right, head down, get this done, get this set up, make a decent bit of money off it, be able to be happy with it, have a good amount of clients, and then I'll go on a holiday. Do you know what I mean? I probably didn't do anything for I don't know how long. So probably leave the country for 2 years.
And like, that's what you have to do. You have to earn that right to be able to do them things. And now, like, I felt like from all the people I've prepped and everyone I've got there so far, that like I can get that little break now, whereas before I would have struggled. That like, if I went away somewhere, I'd probably spend 4 or 5 hours straight away on my laptop, or feel like you get caught into the fact of using Loom now, that you feel like you have to send a Loom video for every update, whereas if you're away, voice note's going to do absolutely perfect. You can read a sheet, send a voice note, job done, happy days.
And going back again, I know I've been speaking about this, but say going from them 2 clients to 28 clients up to 64 clients on stage, whatever it was, obviously prep clients take a lot of time, a lot of energy, multiple check-ins a day at some point per client. How did you manage that? How did you balance it, I suppose, and how did you find the knock-on effect then as well into other areas?
Well, there's no balance. There's no balance. Like, you literally just pick your phone. I remember on WhatsApp on your phone, you can filter how many messages you receive in a week. So you can check that. Like, so what I did is, I remember my busiest period was through a July week or something? I remember that. And I checked how many messages I got from like a Sunday to a Sunday. So like, this will include if client sends like you could like 4 or 5 pictures and all that things. But it was close on, I think it was 2,800 and something messages within 7 days of being received into my phone. So that means like maybe a client sent me like 20 pictures in the week, but then there's forward and back. That's over probably 100 clients as well, like, so, or whatever was checking in, because like a lifestyle client would probably send you 3 pictures, send you a line message like, here's my check-in. You'll send them a Loom video and they'll go like, thanks for the changes, talk to you next week. So they're only sending you probably 5 in a week.
5 back and forth.
Yeah, do you know, that kind of way, over whatever. But then it's the prep clients that are sending all that. And it's just like, you have to understand, like, when you wake up in the morning, like the prime example of someone that does it day in, day out would be Christian Chapman. Like, literally, like, I thought he was going to burn out, and doesn't look like he's anywhere near it. Like, because he's like 6 o'clock every morning, getting up, absolutely nailing it. Like, and again, like, I remember, I was chatting to him at shows, and he's telling me how fucking wrecked he is, and like, I'd be telling him the same, but like, it's fully understandable. But like, that's a model entity of discipline and work ethic right there then. And then you see what he achieved. He bought a Ferrari last week. So like, you know, like that's, and when I see that, I'm just there, it's like, that's what I like to see, like straight away, like, because that just shows what is capable within stuff like this when you actually conduct yourself and not be a dickhead, in his words as well.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
His words. Right, switching it slightly, what would you say to, say, a coach who's starting out now and probably wants to either get their first few clients or maybe wants to even break into more so the prep kind of scene? Obviously, imagine, you could say where you started is slightly different to where we are now. Obviously, 6 years later, reels weren't even a fucking thing, do you know what I mean, back then? But I think the foundations of it remain the same. Results, service, X, Y, Z. So how do you, I suppose, maintain your service? First of all, we'll start from the start. How do you start off as a coach looking to get into that side of it?
Do a prep, build some muscle. Stop putting out useless information on reels when you have zero muscle. Stop just spamming sales, spamming that. No one cares. No one gives a shit. Anytime I see that on Instagram, it's just like, nope, mute, unfollow. Like, I've been unfollowing people left, right and centre now, and I just see all that nonsense coming. Because like, if you want to get into prep coaching, like, you need, like, look at Cal. Like, I'm coached by Cal, so like, when Cal was getting into it first, like, he's got all them years, but what did he do? He got absolutely peeled. He walked the walk, and then like, he had some good clients while he was doing that, but that's what really kind of cemented into him there as well, was doing that prep, and that just took off there. Same thing for me in Ireland there as well. I did that. Mark Hudson did the same. He was prepping through there, showing his discipline day in, day out. Like, all the lads now over here, like, as well, like, you did your first prep there now as well. Like, you've been coaching with a good few years, but you did your first prep. You need to walk that, but you need to put out, you need to be able to just train day in, day out. You need to be able to just enjoy the process, and don't overcomplicate the process. Like, because I think people are thinking too far ahead. They're thinking of 12 months down the line, when you need to just focus on now. Do your bits of your content. Put up your training clips, put up some information, but don't be putting up things how to train your biceps or how to train your delts if you're like, literally, you have so much muscle to put on, because like, you're losing your target audience then as well. Like, you're like, that's the one thing that I'm seeing that's happening through there, that if you want to do it, just turn up, train hard, enjoy your training. Stop telling people there's a right way to train, a wrong way to train. You can train whatever way you want, as long as you're enjoying it. That's what I found over the last, like, maybe 18 months, is your enjoyment needs to come first in everything you're doing. Like, if you want to prep clients, you have to be able to enjoy dieting. You have to be able to enjoy that. If you hate dieting, if you struggle with dieting, if you're crying there at the end of the night, you're not going to do it.
It's like you're preaching something to someone, but you don't even believe it yourself, and they're going to see straight through it.
You're going to see straight through it like that. Like, if you can't do that, like, and you're going to get nowhere in it. Like, and so if you want to build a coaching business, like, and to get into prepping now, it's not going to happen the way it happened 5 or 6 years ago, because there wasn't as many. Anyone who does an online coach now wants to be a prep coach. So if you want to be a prep coach now, like, you need to put in the time and effort. You're not going to get it that easy, unless you're an absolute genetic freak that goes to a show and cleans up and wins a pro card in their first season. Then you'll probably start kind of blowing up a little bit. But like that then as well, you just need to be able to talk. You need to be able to show your consistency, because people buy into consistency.
Definitely,
So that's what would be my main thing. If you're looking to be a prep coach, just turn up every day.
And when obviously you were prepping and you started building prep clients, take up so much time of your day, and you're building up your client numbers. I obviously don't know how many client numbers you have, but I imagine it's a fair few. How do you manage to maintain such a good service? Because I know a lot of your clients are long term, they leave but they come back. They're really bought into you, and obviously
it's the personality you're going to get. Because like, even there, I had clients over this week now, and we went for food now as well, and we were just chatting about that, and there was a question asked to one of my clients then, it's like, what's it like to be coached by me, was asked to them when we were out. There was 4 of us out, and his thing is like, there's one of the male clients, and he's like, I feel like it's being coached by one of my best friends, how we chat, how we get along. You have to have that personality that, like, coaching, it's not a dictatorship. Like, it's a collaborative basis, coaching is. So like, for me, when I'm coaching clients who've prepped multiple times, I will take their opinions on board. And I think that's what makes a huge difference. Whereas if a client texts you and said, I think I should try this, if it's a first timer who's never been on stage and doesn't have a lot of muscle, you can fob that off, be like, I'm not going to listen to that, because they're just probably just throwing something like, oh, I think I'm a flat, I could do with a refeed.
Exactly,
They've never, they're not flat, they don't have muscle to need it. Whereas if you have a client who's competed multiple times, like one of my clients now, I've prepped them this is year 3. And every year we've been trying something slightly different. And this year we're trying something different as well. And I'm taking his feedback. So when he gets through training, he'll tell me, oh yeah, I'm feeling a bit flat here, I'm feeling this. We looked at his pictures last year, like legs kind of faded a good bit. So we're trying to run a prep with like pretty much no cardio this year to keep inflammation off it. Whereas that's what we get from learning. And then he's giving me his feedback now, how he feels. Like he's not just going, oh, I love having no cardio. He's giving me the honest opinion going, look at my legs now, they're a lot fuller, they're holding good size. And we're like, yeah, this is working. So let's roll this as long as we can. So I find that like to build that relationship, you need to be able to listen to the client and their needs as well. But then you also need to be able to put them in their place.
Yeah. And like, I think a lot of clients, I think not, I don't want to say more so females, but maybe more so females, they need to sometimes at a time be put in their place when it comes to it. Like I think the lads might not really like it sometimes. The lads will maybe like go against you. Like I've had times with lads with clients and they'd be like, what, why are you telling me to do that? You know, kind of way, like they kind of have that like, want to kind of bite back at you sometimes, whereas I feel as though girls are like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Do you know what I mean? They kind of might have a split second thought, but if you say no, they're like, okay, they take it on board quite well.
Definitely. And I found that as well, like what I found as well by prepping more females, I think as when you're a male and you're telling females what to do, like like if I tell one of my females, go on, do 75 minutes cardio and do 1500 calories, as much as they're pissed off, they're kind of like, fuck him now, I'm going to show him I can do it. That's what I feel like that. Whereas nothing against some of the lads, but some of the lads could just be like, oh fuck, do you know, as in they'll have a little moan at you. Whereas I think girls find it's kind of more of, they're hard workers and they'll actually go to you as like, fuck you, I'm going to show you I can do this. They might have a little moan over a message going, oh, I can't believe I'm doing this, but they'll fucking do it. That's what I've always noticed, that they'll actually do the work, that they'll work that bit harder, because it's like they're trying to prove the point that they're able for this as well, which is huge. And like that's what it is. And like, as you said, you put them in their place time, because like let's talk about off season there very quickly again. Majority of the time it's females that struggle with putting on the body weight. Like men cannot, like the way you look at it, when guys are prepping, they hate losing weight, getting skinny, they feel like they're a sack of shit when they're getting on stage, that they have no muscle. Girls, when they're dieting, they're like, oh my god, I'm losing body fat, and you know, they're getting happier because their body weight's coming down, where guys are getting a bit sad when they start. Like I remember when I saw the scales go below 100 kilos, I was kind of like, oh fuck's sake, because in my head I kind of thought I'd be around 100, 101 going on stage, but once I seen like 99.2 one day, I was like, oh fuck this. Whereas like, for girls, seeing like her number go from like a 60 to a 59 on prep is like, yes. Whereas then off season, when you see your weight as a male, like, when I breach back into 100, 105, 110, it's like, fuck yeah, we're on. Whereas a girl, when she starts seeing them 5-10 kilos going on, it's like, oh my god, I'm fucking fat, I'm a whale. And it's like, oh my god, like you're not, like, you know, as in, but it is that mental aspect that you have to.
How do you find, I suppose, the difference between coaching males and females? Like, I wouldn't say you're predominantly, you're all females, but I would say like you
majority, as
you
I say
70%.
70%.
And did you try and niche down? You know, like a lot of people these days niche, like, and it's almost extreme. I work with like 35-year-old females who do this. It's a bit kind of stupid, isn't it?
I work with 40-year-old women that have 6 cats.
Yeah, like
don't leave the house.
What's your opinion on that? And also, how did you end up having a niche?
Just happened. I don't chase niches, I just coach. I enjoy coaching. So this is what happened. I didn't ask for female clients, they just arrived. I didn't have female clients until I think basically Eva and them came on. Is kind of like, because basically what happened is Eva's boyfriend Chris signed up and it was like, can Eva come on too? Can we do it as a couple? I was like, yeah. And that's where I kind of built, and that's where I came up from. And I never niched women, and then they want to do competitions. They did it. They just want, like, I could have had guys that did competitions first. They could have won the shows. I could have been predominantly male then. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, and then you roll with it. If you try and fight what's happening for you, it's not going to work out. If you just let it roll, for me, I looked at it and went, never thought I'd be a female prep coach, because I did a seminar with Marnie, the posing coach, for Rocket, and I had to do a just 20-minute chat about like bodybuilding and prepping females, because it was NPC seminar, and that was my first thing. I was like, introduce myself. I goes, I am majority female prep coach, which I never thought I would be. If you asked me 5 years ago, I would have went no. But it's just what happens. And then I enjoy it. They're hard workers. They'll do the job. They appreciate you after it. Like, you can see that, like, when they get their results. Like, best feeling as a coach is when someone gets a good result and they're ringing you or they're texting you and they're like crying about how happy they are with their results. It's the best feeling in the world. So like, you don't, I think everyone's chasing these niches now, and it's stupid. Like, just like put out your good content, train hard, work with your clients. If you want to be more predominantly a prep coach, you have to understand, you have to get the lifestyle clients to pay your bills initially, and then eventually you might get some good clients. Work your ass off with them and see where it goes. If you try and push it, it's not going to happen.
So you never niche down for females, but did you ever niche down, say, towards prep?
As in, it just happened because
your content was.
Yeah, my content was that way in 2019, and people just seen it because like I did shows, I got shredded. Like, yeah, I wasn't the biggest, but I still got absolutely peeled.
Yeah.
So like that's what showed that I showed the work ethic of it. I came out of post show. I did not turn into a fat piece of shit post show. I showed that you can actually do this. So people bought into that, and that's what happens. Whereas I never once thought I'd be where I am today, and like I'm forever grateful that I got to meet so many people around the world, make so many new friends, new contacts. Like, it's absolutely fantastic, and it's just a journey that I'm just going to be grateful for the next few years, building a team, building more, and just enjoying it. And like, even for myself, I wanted to prep this year, but I decided against it. I'm going to take this year off because it's going to be next year. I have a lot of people prepping as well, so I'm like, I'll join in with that. Whereas this year,
you're going to prep next year?
What's that?
You're going to prep next year?
Yeah, that's my plan in my head now. I was kind of only thinking of it.
You were here first. I didn't even hear this. We train together every day.
Yeah. That's it. No, it's only a late decision is what I was thinking, because I was going to prep this year, but then I just kind of looking at it like, do you know what? I want a bit of normality, that I can go to client shows. I'm not dieting. I'm not this. That if I want to go on a trip away, that I can go somewhere. If I want to go home and see my family, like, I've been having meals out. I've been cooking meals now lately and doing this and like just enjoying it. And like, I found now, like, when you like, not that it's like a balance, that I'm able to switch off a little bit from that 100% locked in mentality. And I think it's something we have to address, is sometimes being 100% locked in isn't the answer. I think you do need that 80-85% to being on it. If you look at this, like, think about being 100% locked in anything. If you're 100% locked in and something doesn't go to plan, it ruins your whole week, your whole day. You're pissed off, your training's going to be shit. Whereas if you're at that stage and something doesn't go to plan, you're kind of like, fuck it. Didn't go to plan. You move on. You reset. You might you might skip a training session, because that's what I do now. If something doesn't go to plan on a day and I was meant to train, and for some reason I know I'd be delayed and I'd be rushing if I'm trying to go, I'm not training today. And I'm so much happier about it. Where before I'd go ballistic. I would be pacing up and down my house or apartment and kind of organising stuff, rush to get training, have the worst session, not talk to anyone in the gym. If someone wants to use equipment, just kind of like try and ignore them to get my session done. Get out of there and then realise that was shit, and then be pissed off that I had a shit session. Would take the day off and reset, because I think people get too caught up if they have 5 sessions in a week. Like you get clients will text you, it's like, I can only do 4 sessions this week, is that okay? It's like, yeah. Like, you're not going to lose muscle from this in one session.
No issue with it.
Take 2 weeks off, you're probably not going to lose any muscle, you're just going to lose a bit of fullness, just eat your food. And then after, like, it's that aspect of, we're too kind of caught up that if we miss one little variable, like one day of training, it's going to ruin everything. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I love training, I love getting my 5 sessions in. Yeah, if I missed one, I'm a bit like, I missed it, but I'm not going to let it ruin my week anymore, whereas I used to let it ruin my week.
I spoke about it on the last podcast too, about how people are shackled to bodybuilding in a bad way, that their whole life revolves around it, and because they're so focused on every single minute detail down to the step. Now obviously in prep scenario different, but in an off season, like, they're so focused on every single minute detail, they won't go one step over their step count for the day. They have to be in bed by fucking 5 p.m. and down to what time or how many times they fucking wipe their arse, that if something goes wrong, it mentally fucks them so much that it's actually holding them back. And if they could just get on with it and just not be so kind of, I suppose, shackled to it, as I said. And look, it can be a good thing and a bad thing, but for most people, because they're so, they build up anxiety around it, and they get anxious around their training sessions. They get too anxious before they do the set, that they lose their head, and they can't actually take any enjoyment from it. And at the end of the day, we all started bodybuilding because we fucking enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did. And that's what we have to kind of, and that's what we're going to wrap up on as well, that we did bodybuilding, so we enjoyed it. We're able to step back from it as well if we need to. If you're in an off season, or if you've got an 18-month off season, if you want to take a week off training just to switch off, take a week off training. If you want to go to 4 days a week training, There's nothing wrong with 4 days training in the week. 5 is not a magic number of training, which most people think 5 is a number. I've switched.
I used to do 7.
And so did I. I
I
switched 3 or 4 clients this week to 4-day sessions because they were just struggling to get a 15 at times, and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to put you to 4 days training. They're like, is that okay? I was like, of course.
100%.
Like, it's just to break that barrier that this there's no such thing as a magic number. You do what suits you. If you can be mentally happier, it's going to be better.
Yeah, and quickly, last question. Yes. What is the plans for the future for you and for the business and Equalize Coaching?
So the main thing is just continue to grow through here. Like, again, obviously, like another coach down the line. Like as I said, I want to see Eva nail it through here. I want to give her my attention that she can actually get everything done, her own prep, her photo shoot clients, her own clients, because like she can text me across any questions she needs and make sure she can just have all that. And when we're both happy with that, get another coach on there, and ideally have 4 or 5 coaches. And like, if we always look at it, ideally, like, yeah, I'd like to be able to step back from it and maybe have my 15-20 clients down the line that will be prepping, and then managing a team and just like building it from there. That's kind of where I would like to be.
There's a bit of a shelf life on a coach, you know what I mean? When you're 50, do you really want to be doing what you're doing?
Yeah,
now?
like if you look, like the only coaches who are like 50 plus doing it might, like you'll have like Neil Hill, you'll have like Chris Aceto, like, but they're absolutely, they've been doing it for how long? So no wonder that's the case there.
So it's kind of branching off into a different area.
It's about branching off, and like, again,
building a team that can do it for you.
Building a team, and then again, something again we won't hop into. Another thing is property. I have a bit of an interest in, something I'll be looking at through this year, because like that's another, like, as a coach you should be looking at investment opportunities too, because there's a shelf life in coaching. You're not going to be coaching. You're not going to get a retirement fund out of coaching.
I think you said it for all the coaches, it's a high paid job.
Yeah, it's just a high paid job. It's not technically a business at the end of the day. It's just a high paying job. If you have a lot of clients, it might not be a high paying job if you don't have a lot of clients. But like, at the end of the day, it is. So you have to enjoy it while you enjoy the ride, enjoy coaching, and then just take it from there, and just have that safety net and have an escape route. Because when you're 60, you're not going to be there doing check-ins on Loom with your grey hair and your glasses and your Alzheimer's. And
what's your name again?
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's good. We'll wrap it up there. So thank you very much for watching. Mike, you can give your Instagram or everything else like that.
Yeah, so Instagram, it's Mike_Equalize Coaching. And again, you can find the Equalize Coaching page just under that. You can find me there, and email is michaelgearyfitness@gmail.com, and I might get a YouTube back at some day. Who knows? If you will, you might see it on my Instagram. But thanks for having me on board, Cian. Go on, good stuff.
Nice one. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next one.